Okay, awesome. Okay, so I don't know how many of you caught the Tupperware Live. So the Tupperware Live was live from New York, which was really exciting. But before we did the Tupperware Live, I actually would the real purpose of actually why I was in New York with Tupperware was about a month ago. They invited me to go to New York to help with the Voila glass release to the press. And so originally sorry, I've got this notification. I gotta get rid of it later. So originally when they invited me, I didn't really, I was like, I don't even know what that looks like, but yes, like like I was like, what is this, a press conference? Like I have no idea. But it was actually a really cool event. So it was just kind of sort of a lunch and learn. They invited members of the press to come, and Samantha spoke for about 5 minutes, sort of like, this is the history of Tupperware, and this is where we're going. And then this woman named Kristen, who is actually the head of marketing, she's actually kind of newer. I think she was maybe about a year in the business or so, year and a half or so. She's awesome. She's all kinds of awesome. I'm super excited about her in that position. She has some pretty awesome working history, and the things that she kind of talked about, and even this event, she kind of spearheaded this event, and some of the exposure that we've already gotten with the Voila glass, the articles and stuff. This has like her all over it, right? So I'm excited to see kind of all the other things that she does. So I'm really excited about that. Hold on, my screen's just shifted and it changed. My screens went into night mode, and so they took, yeah, there we go. Okay. And so my notes went away. Sorry. So yeah, so anyways, so her and Janine, and so Janine actually kind of has several hats. Everybody, honestly, guys, anybody that's been in Tupperware for a while, and you knew corporate office when we were operating on all cylinders, right? There were definite, like, very clear departments and who worked in what departments. Right now, all of us know there's kind of a skeleton crew of people working at the corporate office. So many people have many hats at the corporate office right now. And so Janine is one of them. So she was in charge of training for a very long time, and that was the hat that she had. And now she's actually got, a foot in that, but she also has a foot in the marketing as well. So the two of them actually spoke to the press about the product and did sort of features and benefits for about 5 minutes or so. And then they sent it over to Cynthia and I to do two cooking demos. So that was really exciting. And so we did cooking demos for about 30-ish minutes and to the members of the press. And so even 24 hours before we got there, we had no idea, like, if these members of the press even knew, really had real experiences with Tupperware. So we had no idea what to expect. So when we asked our opening question, like, how many of you grew up with Tupperware in your house? We were nervous. We didn't know if they were going to say yes or no. And it was amazing because like three-quarters of the people raised their hands with big smiles on their faces because they had fond memories of our products and growing up with them. Let me tell you, it was so cool. I mean, like, over all the years of like working vendor events and doing things like that, we have those moments and people come in and they're just so excited to see our products, and it feels so good. I don't know if you guys ever have that experience. Like, that's one of the things I love about working vendor events, doing Tupperware lives, doing live selling, is that people come in, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Tupperware, I can't believe it's here. I love Tupperware." And they tell you their stories, right? And even from the first event I ever did with Tupperware, I remember looking at Pam and being like, is this for real? Because the way people come in and like fangirl over Tupperware. And it was like, and it was the same reception from these professionals that are editors for big name, like, press people, right? So let me just like I was like, when they said that this is like the press is coming, we've already seen some of the press that has had done articles, right? We're talking Martha Stewart, All Recipes, Food and Wine, right? So those are some big publications. But the people in that room were people like Today, it was Real Simple Magazine, People Magazine. Gosh, it was All Recipes was there, Food Network. I mean, I was like, what is happening? Like, it was crazy. This is like a once in a lifetime experience, but these are like real name, like BuzzFeed. I was like, what? Like, I'm like, these are like publications I get notifications from on the daily, like several times a day of like things. And they were in the room, editors of like food departments and stuff they were in the room. And it was just crazy. So we did our presentation, and let me tell you, they went nuts over our choppers, the Mando Jr., and some of the other things that we featured, and the glass as well. So that was really exciting. That was really exciting to be able to hear all of the rave reviews and all of that on those products. But one of the things that was the biggest thing that was really exciting is that, like, the going forward, like, we went there and we did that, and the thing that was cool is that I felt this I was such an honor to be asked to go do that, because this is like for all of Tupperware. We were there doing that to get the press, like get them to write articles and pique their interest to be able to write more articles. We've already had good press, and to get more good press on our products, because anything like that we can leverage. I did that training last week about how to leverage the good press and all of that kind of stuff is and that was our goal. There was our main objective was to entertain them and leave them wanting more, and hopefully wanting to feature us in a gift guide or something like that, right? Or talk about the Voila glass, or whether it was the Voila glass. I mean, there was one girl that like totally honed in on the fridge smarts. Like, she just like she as soon as we were done talking, she like got right up with her camera, and she's there like taking pictures of fridge smarts, asking. She's like, what are these? And we were like, because we kind of talked about them, but we only had 30 minutes, so we couldn't like go into details about everything. And so, I mean, but it was just so cool to be able to just kind of like talk about all that. So I was sitting beside somebody, and they were with the Today Show, and she was younger, and she was talking about, and it was, and we were just kind of chatting about anything and everything food related. And so I'd mentioned Cynthia was like across the table from me. And I said, Cynthia and I, we do a lot of live selling on TikTok and things like that. And she said, really? And I said, yeah, yeah. I said, I utilize TikTok Shop. I said, Cynthia does it a little bit different, but yeah. And I said, it's kind of cool because we get instant feedback on, things that are hitting, things that are not. And she said, oh, yeah, the Today Show, we actually use TikTok Shop too. And I said, you do? And she said, yeah, yeah, that's what some of our products, that's exactly how we feature them. And I was like, yeah, it's really cool because they click and they buy, right? And I said, but the cool thing is Tupperware has this new platform that we're using, that we're just now starting to use, and it's our Tupper Live, and it's so similar to TikTok, to live selling on TikTok, because we're there, we're live, we're doing our demonstration, and on the side are the products we're demonstrating, and they click and add to cart, and they can buy. I'm like, it's so similar. And I said, the main difference is TikTok is outward facing. So TikTok's bringing me the customers, whereas the Tupper Live is kind of like internal. So we bring the customers to the Tupper Live. I said, so they really work hand in hand, because we can find customers on TikTok or vendor events, whatever. We can find customers there and bring them over, because I only have some of the items in my TikTok shop, but we have the whole catalog over here on TikTok Live. And this girl, she was probably 25, 26, and she's like, that is so like ahead of it. Like, she's like, that is so ahead of everybody else. She's like, I'm super impressed that you guys are doing that. And I said, I know, I'm like super proud of Tupperware for being so ahead of the curve on this. And she's like, yeah, that is super impressive. So to hear that from somebody who is in that business, that she's does the shopping type stuff, the Today Shop, right? And so she's got her head like that's her business, right? And to hear like how impressed she is with our Tupper Life, guys, like, we have got to capitalize on that. Like, seriously, it is something huge that is a huge advantage for us as a sales force, being able to offer that. As it's not live for everybody yet, but it's going to be extremely soon. It will be live for everybody, but we recruit now, right? We recruit now to get them in, right? So they can get acclimated. So as soon as it's go, they're like, oh, great, I already know all this stuff. So all I got to do is hit go and let's do it, right? Because I've already learned all this other stuff, right? So super cool. That was something that I was like, oh, this is so cool, right? So lots of really cool experiences. And so I think the biggest thing that I want you to just kind of think about is, I've mentioned it before, and I mentioned it even this summer when I was talking about recruiting and things along those lines, is, we've talked about, well, I think one of the things is like corporate is doing stuff on a very high level to make us successful, right? And they're doing things to support us to make us successful. This press release, the things that they're doing, this Voila Glass to really put us out there in such a positive light. They are working like, I'm not even talking double time. I'm talking like quadruple time to make this work. And Doug and Anna like doing their like world tour of the United States right now. I mean, seriously, it is like they're working so hard to back us up and help us be successful. And this is just like the beginning of the awesomeness that is to come. And I don't know, again, like I said, I've mentioned this before and I mentioned it this summer and I'm going to say it again and I'm going to keep saying it, champions, until we catch the wave. But I don't know if you've noticed, but there has been a thinning of the herd, and you know what that means. There are customers out there and they need us. So either we go find them, or somebody that's going to be recruited tomorrow is going to go find them, right? So the money out there is there to be made, right? So now is the time. Now is the time to build it big, right? So if you could start right now and you'll be so much further ahead than all the other wait and see people, all the people that are sitting there going, I don't know, let's wait and see if they get this under control. Let's wait and see if the shipping level's out. Let's wait and see this, that, and the other. And they're waiting and seeing about things that are out of their circle of control, right? We can't control those things, but you know what we can control is the things within our circle of influence. And the things that are within our circle of influence are the positive press that we're getting that we can capitalize on right now, because now is that moment, right? And that moment is fleeting. And so we need to take full advantage of this and grab it with both hands, right? So again, if you missed last week, right? If you missed last week and I talked about how to leverage that stuff, go back and watch that, right? Because more press is coming, but we've got press now that you can take advantage of. When my kids were little, people would sit there and they go, I'd be like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. And they were like, oh, wait till they're 2 and they're so awful. And wait till they're 3. And then they're just like, oh, wait till the hormones kick in and they're teenagers. Oh, wait till they start driving cars and blah, 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 blah. You know what? I never found that bad age. I literally never found that bad age. Okay. And the reason why is because I always focused on the positives. And honestly, I try to put like, even the negative stuff, we kind of found the humor in it. We're just like, oh my God, you'll never believe what they tried to pull today. Like, you know what I mean? And so you can either sit there and be like, wow, you'll never believe what Tupperware is doing now, right? Or you can look at the positives and you can, like I said, grab it with both hands and take off and take advantage of this. So you always have a choice. You have a choice every day to focus on those negatives and the things that you used to love about Tupperware, right? And focus on, oh, I loved it when Tupperware did this and it was so great back in the day, right? And that maybe things that aren't here anymore. Or you can choose again, right? You can choose again and you can find the positive and the things that you can control and focus on that and capitalize it, guys. So let's go, right? Let's go. Let's capitalize on this positivity and this positive press that we've already had, because more is coming. If I did my job right, more is coming. Okay. So I'm super excited about it. So you should be excited too.